we've been in this weird place, right, for the last year and a half. When I was still at USDA when COVID really broke last March, we did go kind of right away to a work from home environment. Obviously things have changed over the last year and a half, and I think for many people, they're still in some kind of hybrid. Maybe they're not fully back in the office, maybe they're part-time. Kids have mostly gone back to school, but really, to me, we've kind of had a momentous change in society, right? There's a lot of societal things that have changed, and for a lot of people, and I think for a lot of parents, a blending of home and work. This is an area where I'll tell you, like, vulnerability of mine, probably. This is not an area that I've mastered. In fact, this is an area that people should not look to me as an example. Because I have really struggled the last year and a half to separate the two. I find my work bleeding further and further into the day, into the night, overlapping with the time that I should be focusing on my kids, maybe helping out at the farm, whatever that might be. I'm trying to also use it as a teaching moment for my kids, right? I hope not in a way that they see, oh man, I don't want to be like mom when I grow up, but more, that trying to teach them just that, try to figure out what the right balance is. People talk a lot about work-life balance. To me, I think that's a fallacy, because work-life balance assumes that they're equal, and they're not, right? I don't think anybody here would agree or would disagree with that. But one of the things that I've had to challenge myself with or learn and practice is the ability to say no. So I was a person who for years said yes to everything, to every speaking engagement, to every student that wanted to be mentored, to every civic and active in any involvement. Can you volunteer for this? Can you help us with this? I literally said yes to everything. And it frankly, was destroying me at times, right? I mean, it handicapped me from being able to do anything well, because I was doing too much. And so that is something that like I said, I do not have this mastered, I'm still learning it, but the ability to say no. And to me, I've basically taken that sand in my jar, this time in my life, down to 3 things. I help with my church if they need it, and the women's group I'm involved with there. I help with my county farm bureau if they need it. And then I mentor 2 students. And that's it. Beyond that, my capacity is at its maximum. I can admit that. I'm not ashamed to admit that I only have so much capacity, because I would rather do the things that I'm doing well than do everything and be everywhere today. And these 2 women are women that, one is actually my sister. Alexis over there on the right is my sister. I love to brag about her. I'm her biggest fan. She's the director of agriculture in the state of Oregon. And then Tina May, a former colleague that I worked on the Hill with, she's the chief of staff to Beth Ford at Lima Lakes. And even though we were on this fun podcast together, we actually are sort of each other's network. So we have been known on a random Saturday night to get on the phone or get on a Zoom call, because we live all in different states, crack open a few beers, and talk about the issue of the day, right? Sometimes it turns into a debate, other times it turns into ideas about how we can solve problems, or who we should get together to work on a problem or a solution, or a way that we can partner between government and the private sector. But I just throw this up there because, to me, these 2 women represent all of you. They represent the kind of people who get together, who are leaders, who have great ideas, and should use those great ideas collectively, I might add, to solve some of the problems and challenges that we have. And why I'm bringing this up is because some of the things that I'm sure are going to be on the agenda today, I know Mary Kay will talk about and others will talk about, are big societal things, right? Climate change, right? Consumer trends and consumer demands. I think, as women, we are in the best seat to help solve some of those problems. One, because I think we care about them. I don't think you'd all be here if you didn't, right? We care about them. And 2, in my opinion, our perspectives are going to be a little bit different about those things, because we are raising children, because we own farms because we care about the environment, because we want our food to be safe and healthy and sustainable, and there for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. So I'm going to shift here just a little bit and talk about some of the ways that I think, some of the ways that we can, probably why I'm so proud to work in this industry, and I hope you all feel the same way. It's the foundation of the fabric of our country, and it's the fabric of our world. It feeds people, puts the clothes on our back, it's driving it's giving power to my truck out there. It is literally the foundation of everything. People don't, greater society doesn't think about it that way, but it's the truth. And the only way that we can link all those things, in my opinion, to us back on the farm is with that story. And data is that linkage to that story. When we think about the downstream consumer, I love this picture because it's so representative. I do all the grocery shopping in our house. I don't know about you guys. Maybe don't go to the store quite as often. I have gotten a little bit more efficient with my time, and I like the high aisles where I just run in and they throw it in the back of my car. But typically when I walk around the grocery store, it's women. It's women with kids. They're primarily doing the meal planning, maybe the meal preparing, and they're definitely mostly doing the grocery shopping. That's why, as consumer packaged good companies, they're not idiots. They target women for marketing. They also understand, and they are building entire divisions in their companies. Basically, think about any major brand that you see in the grocery store. They're building entire departments directly related to sustainability. Where the food came from, how it was produced. They want the story, right? And then they're making claims about that food, right? And they gotta back those claims up, right? So who's gonna help them? How can they back those claims up? Anybody have any ideas? The story, the data, right? They're gonna come to us, they're gonna come to farmers, they're gonna say, help us prove this. Our consumer wants this. We need it. We need proof. When I think about where we're going, think about where we've come in 20 years, right? 10 years ago, the only way to know anything about your food was you picked up the box and you read the nutrition label, right? That the government mandated was on that box. Today, we've got much more readily accessible information about where our food comes from. I think about my two kids. So in 20 years, with their grocery shopping, what is gonna, it's beyond my imagination. I have no idea what society is gonna look like. But what I can tell you is they're gonna know more about their food in 20 years than we know about it today. And so how do we build a system today that helps, frankly, back to that original point on the farmer perspective, how do we build a system that protects farmers, first of all? And then how do we build a system that delivers on what the consumer and what these CPG companies are going to be asking of us? I don't have the answer to that, but I do believe that there's great minds in this room and elsewhere who are going to help us figure that out.